Ayo, artists and musicians.
Who, us?
Yeah, do you want your own vinyl records?
Yeah, but I can't order 1,000 of them. Or wait like a year to get them. Yeah, we're going on tour in 2 months.
Check out our friends lathecuts.com. They'll make you vinyl singles in quantities as small as 50 copies and as quickly as 3 or 4 weeks.
Get out of here.
You heard me right. All their pricing is a la carte, and they can help you pick a package that fits your budget.
Okay, who we talk to about this?
You need to email my buddy Mike. His address is lathecuts@yahoo.com. And if you mention low profile, you'll get a 10% overrun on your order.
So if I order 50 records,
Mike's gonna send you 55.
if I order 75, I guess you would get 82 and a half.
Something like that. Remember, you gotta mention low profile to get that deal, and it won't be around forever.
What was the address again?
That's lathecuts@yahoo.com. Custom-made records in small quantities. Mention low profile to get a 10% overrun on your order.
And emailing now.
Hi there, this is Markley Morrison, and it's great to be back with a new season of Low Profile. Today, on the 25th episode, I'm bringing you the goods. The definitive article on the sleeper underground pop duo Donnie and Joe Emerson. The two oldest siblings of their family, Donnie and Joe, made the leap from agriculture to popular culture with their 1979 album Dreamin' Wild. The strange thing is that it took over 3 decades for their music to catch on. Talk about being ahead of their time. The song that put them on the map is called Baby. In recent years, it's been featured in several movies and the HBO show Big Little Lies, not to mention several cover versions by new artists like Ariel Pink with Dame Funk and the R&B duo Kristen and Shauna Gray. I had the privilege of speaking with not only Donnie and Joe, but also their parents, who risk everything to help their kids live their dream. From custom jumpsuits to building a studio and producing a record on their farm in Fruitland, Washington. But before we hear this family interview, Donnie wanted to share a brand new rendition of Baby that he stumbled upon, sung by Kirsty Fox, with accompaniment by Stephen Dale.
Yes, baby. Oh no, baby. Dreams of you all the time. Feels so good when we're together, love.
The duo recorded this cover separately during the COVID lockdown, and I spoke with them earlier this summer.
My name's Stefan, and I was producing this cover of Donnie and Joe's song with Kirsty here. Introduce yourself.
My name's Kirsty. I am from South Wales, the same place as Steph, and I'm a vocalist.
Can you tell me a little bit about how you came upon that song?
Well, it was my choice, really. I think, wasn't it, Kirsty?
Yeah, we were trying to find something, weren't we?
Yeah, we were searching around. I think we had a couple of ideas, but I don't know. It just seemed like one of those songs that's, like I was saying to Kirsty, it's one of the songs that's hard to do wrong because it's simple, and there's not actually that many covers of it as well. I think one other one I can note is Ariel Pink's cover, but online you had a look on YouTube, didn't you, Kirsty?
Yeah, there wasn't many at all.
No. So yeah, we thought it was a good one to have a go at. Yeah.
Yeah, ripe for reinterpretation, and I think Y'all did a lovely job.
Well, if they're, and I'm assuming they're going to be listening back to this podcast at some point as well when it's out. So yeah, I'd like to say thank you for not suing us.
Yeah.
And thank you for writing it in the first place, because it is a great tune.
Yeah,
It's
it's
one of
so
my
good.
favourites. Beautiful piece of music.
It's so nice to sing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think you did it pretty good justice there, Kirsty.
Thanks, Steph.
No worries.
That was the Welsh duo Kirsty and Steph on their new cover of Baby, a song originally written by this episode's guests, Donnie and Joe Emerson. If you enjoy this program, you can follow it on Instagram at lowpropodcast, and if you'd like to help support the show, you can visit patreon.com/lowprofile. Also, telling your friends and giving the show positive ratings and reviews on iTunes couldn't possibly hurt. Okay, the intro's over. Come on and hang out with Donnie and Joe, their mom and dad, and yours truly.
Well, I'm Donnie Emerson.
I'm Joe Emerson.
Here's Don Emerson, Senior.
And where are you tonight?
We're at the farmhouse here in Fruitland,
Yeah, we're at the where we
where
were
we
raised.
grew up.
Yeah.
Wow, back home. And I understand it's your birthday, Don.
Yes, yeah, today was my birthday, and we was up to the bar and had a birthday party there up in Hunters.
Close to where we went to school.
Very cool. You know, I just, first of all, I want to say thank you. I'd like to thank you so much for talking to me. This has been a long time coming. If you don't mind me sharing how I discovered your music before we get going.
That'd be great, Mark.
Yeah, so I was on tour with the band Lake, and I believe we were in Baltimore. We found this underground record store that was literally underground. Like, you went to the sidewalk level and went downstairs into a basement.
It's pretty
And
cool.
we were just looking for some records to take home, CDs to listen to in the van while we were on the road. And while we were browsing, the fellow working behind the counter stopped whatever was playing, and he put on Dreamin' Wild. And me and my two bandmates that I was with inside the store all just stopped, rose up, and started walking toward the cashier to find out what the hell he was playing. It was immediately just grabbed all of our attention.
Did you have a good time while it lasted? Did it make you feel like you were on top of the world? Did you feel good if you ever man now? Did it make you feel like a fool? Did you have a good time? Did you have a good time, love? Did you have a good time? Did you have a good time, love? Did you have a good time?
I want to say this was probably around 2008,
Wow.
maybe 2009.
Was that early?
So, yeah. And I
That's wild.
was like, yeah, there's this thing I found at the thrift store, and it's just an instant classic that we never knew about. And he sold us a CDR copy of it for $6, I think. And
Wow.
we played the hell out of it while we were on the road. It became sort of our soundtrack for a while. And yeah, we're kind of doing our research on you guys even as far back as 2008 or 9, and found out that y'all were from Washington, where we live too.
Uh-huh.
I'm in Olympia, of course, and so Don Senior, you still live in Spokane, or I'm sorry, Fruitland.
We live here in Fruitland. I mean, not in Fruitland, but we're 5 miles south of Fruitland. We're on Highway 25 here.
All right. And Donnie, you're in Spokane?
Yeah, I live in Spokane, and I just came out for Dad's birthday, and actually it's a pretty cool thing, and the whole family's out here. But I just got to tell you something. The story that you told me about, kind of hearing about our music and stuff, I actually talked to Bill Polad about that incident. Did they ever talk to you at all or anything? Because I told him about the story that you told me.
Oh, can I interrupt you for just a second?
Sure.
Just for the sake of the listener, Bill Polad is directing a feature film about Donnie and Joe.
Yes, he's actually writing and directing the film. Yeah,
Right.
I was telling him about the story, Mark. Okay, and
Okay.
his eyes lit up when I was telling him about this. He was telling me on the other end, because I told him over the phone. He said, "You Donnie, I'm just lighting up over on the other end." And I think what he was thinking was an image in his head. You got to remember, you know what I mean? So I don't know what he's actually was thinking at the moment, but as a creator, you never know. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah,
whoa,
yeah.
whatever.
Yeah, and yeah, we talked. I want to say maybe like 8 months ago. I think it was last fall.
Mm-hmm. Something like that.
Do you know what the deal is with the movie at this point?
Well, Joe, you want to say something? It might be better coming
I
from
think River Road Entertainment's taken over the production part of the film right now, as far as what we've heard. And I think the script is 90% finished, and we'll probably be our family will probably be listening and hearing the script here sometime soon this summer.
That's really exciting. You think you guys are going to try to make a cameo?
Oh, I don't know. I
Well, we don't know what the script is yet.
Yeah.
We're kind of in the dark a bit. It's a bit mysterious in a way because the story's about us, and now we're kind of wondering how's this thing going. I mean, it is kind of a dreaming wild
Right.
thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It is kind of crazy.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of stories or information about you that's readily available to the public. So that's part of the reason I'm excited to speak with you guys.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I hear stuff that sounds different every time I hear it, I want to know more about the lives behind it. And so, from what I understand, you guys just grew up in Fruitland, Washington, or I guess just outside of it. And Don Sr., you were a farmer and a logger.
Yes.
And y'all had some 1,600 acre farm. Is that right?
Well, I had 1,760 acres.
Wow. Even bigger than I thought.
Yeah.
And y'all worked the farm. Were there other people working the farm, or was it just the family?
You had some hired people helped.
A little bit.
Yeah, Dad would hire some during the summer.
That was when we were quite younger.
Yeah,
though.
we were younger at that time.
That was when we were
Mhm.
toddlers, but then,
Yeah.
of course, when we got into our early teen years, then we began taking on the farm chores more so.
Yeah, yeah.
I was wondering if you could tell me about your siblings, because you said that there's a younger brother as well. Who are your siblings, and what's the birth order, if I can get really meticulous?
Well, I'm the oldest,
Yeah, and then
and then Don's second in line. Then we have a sister, Maria, then David, and then Catherine Rose. So there's 5 of us, 5 siblings in the family. And we're all pretty much maybe a couple years apart. Rosie's the youngest. She came quite a bit later. She's about 9 years younger than I, and I'm 61 years of age now. So
Wow, so that puts you at about 19 or 20 when Dreamin' Wild came out.
yeah. I was about 18. Donnie was about 16.
hey, I just got to say something. Mama's here with us as well, Mark. Our mother's with
Oh,
us.
wow.
She's right beside us. Can she say hello as well?
Oh, please.
Yeah, just kind of.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
Yeah, because no one really hears from our mother that much, and I just think it'd be awesome if she could just say hi to Mark, your mom.
Hi, Mark. How are you?
Hi. Good. And I didn't catch your name.
Oh, my name's Selena. Selena.
Well, Selena, could I ask you to sort of describe Donnie and Joe when they were beginning to show their musical strengths and tendencies?
Yes, when I was very little, I had a hard time with them because she used to take me little spaghetti, little pots and pan, and I said, you cannot do that anymore. So I went to Goodwill and I bought him some, and I was working with that, and sometimes took the vacuum cleaner too. And I said, that's not very well, not good, because it's dusty. I tried to play kinds of music with that, making noise. But I always let him do it because I felt it's better see him in living room with all that noise, doing a lot of noise, from see him outside run around, didn't know where it goes, because kids, you cannot keep him still out. When you outside, it's outside, you know.
We put a lot of dents in those pots and pans, didn't I, Mom?
Yes, you did. So we've done a lot of things with this. We've been a lot of places too, together. So a lot of things.
We're gonna have Mom.
Through.
We're gonna have our mother sit down here just a little bit here,
Yeah.
Mark.
Great. Yeah, this is
we
really
didn't
exciting.
We really work hard on this since we got started in the beginning. We always was do what the kids really want to do it. We was going to do the right thing. We went along with it. My husband and I, and everybody had to make sacrifice in our family. We could not do it without God's help.
Mm-hmm.
We always strong in our faith, and that's number one in our lives, because that's as important as you cannot. This world, they're made here to stay, made here to prepare for the next life. So we're very picky on that kind of subject. So I think, my opinion, I hope this movie, when it come out, it'll be not put things, not nice things in it. I don't think it's going to do that, because we're not that kind of people we are. And I hope it be successful and good movie, because I've been looking forward to it. But the boys work hard. Joe, he practiced drums and he played guitar too. You know, he played the piano too. And Donnie, he never stopped. I remember when he used to practice in the studio Bill, my husband did build for them. And he'd come in the morning, 5 o'clock in the morning, he'd take his shoes off. He'd come from the basement to not make noise to wake us up. So he worked awful hard in this. He never stopped. He always practiced and playing, and he always come for noon song. What you think about this, Mom? You think it's going to be hit? And I said, well,
I brought a lot of songs to you, didn't I, Mom?
Yes, you did.
Lots of songs. The thing is, I would bring the songs home to her on a tape, and they would be produced. And she'd say, well, I kind of like that.
Yeah.
I kind of like that. Normally it was always she liked everything I did, pretty much.
Yes, so anyway.
Yeah, the one thing I've definitely gathered from the things I've read about you guys, it was just a very supportive, loving family, and you guys were, you guys were hot stuff in your town. The local rock and roll band, but not party animals. Not you guys weren't trashing hotel rooms or anything like that.
No, and in fact,
good, clean fun.
Yeah. Well, it was. I mean, the thing is, we were fortunate during that time, during 1977 and 78, 79, there were other musicians around here as well. We came from a very small area, but there were little bands here. There were 2 other bands, by the way, wasn't there, Joe? That was in our area. Yeah, there was the McLeans up there, and then there was the Haroldsons. They had their band, and then we had our band. So to have 3 bands in a small little community, that's a pretty big deal.
Yeah, definitely. Donnie and Joe, back to how did you get into pop music? What was your first exposure that you remember that really made an impact?
Well, I'll let you talk on that one, Joe. Go ahead.
Well, let's see.
Well, it had to do with you, I think, didn't
Well, probably me, probably getting the driver's license and having a car with a radio in it, finally having my own car, and I really didn't know too many bands or anything and didn't listen to too much music, but when I first bought, I did have a couple of 8-track tapes. We didn't have albums and things like that in any collection at home. We didn't listen to music at home, but at school I remember in one of the locker rooms some guy had some tapes, and one was a Steely Dan tape, and maybe I purchased one of those. Maybe I'll like that music. You know, I was just trying to fit in, but I didn't know what kind of music it was. I just seen the guy had the tape and it said Steely Dan, so I think I'll buy that out of Columbia House Records. You know, well, that was kind of my introduction.
Yeah.
And of course our local radio station in Spokane, KJRB, played a lot of variety of music and that and I think I probably tuned into that station quite a bit, and that's when my first beginnings was of the music that was happening at the time. But I was really quite naive about concert music that was happening in Spokane, because I didn't go to concerts, and we rarely met other musicians outside of our own town. So that was probably my mainstay of the beginnings. Now, Don probably had similar beginnings too, but I don't know what your main thing was, Don.
Well, it's so weird because Joe would, we would go down and have to change irrigation pipes, and we'd all ride in Joe's car. He had a station wagon. He'd have an 8-track tape of, I don't know, it seemed like he had a tape of different people on it.
At that time, I didn't have an 8-track tape player not in that Chevy station wagon.
That was just
not
radio?
then, but it was just a radio.
I really wasn't listening to that much stuff except for the stuff that, they would have on their radio in their car or whatever. Steve Miller Band and stuff like that. Boston. But there are other stuff like Steely Dan as well. All that kind of stuff. Bread, yeah. But a lot of the stuff that came on the radio was different, though, Mark. We got a plethora of music on the radio, because at that time they would play many genres. They'd play country, they played pop, soul on this station. It wasn't just one style of music, if that makes any sense.
I think there was another venue where we got our music. It's television.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we think about that. Bandstand was on, Don.
Oh, yeah,
we used to watch Bandstand.
Yeah.
And, of course, Don, we didn't have much music genres on TV at that time, but Bandstand was I think I probably touched you quite a bit, too.
I did. And another thing is the Lawrence Welk show.
That's right.
I was a big Lawrence Welk fan.
Oh, yeah.
Some kids might not have got into that, but the musicianship on the Lawrence Welk show was above anything, and it's above anything even to this day.
Yeah, and Lawrence Welk was sort of... I remember watching Lawrence Welk reruns when I was a little kid, and he was definitely like the antithesis of cool. Kind of so square that it was cool.
Yeah, exactly.
At the same time.
I'm just trying to think at that time. See, 1975, I was... I gotta figure how old I was in 75. Was I 14?
You're getting too old to remember, Don.
I remember nothing. I know. I'll tell you something. One of our friends, who was our bass player, Eldon, his father was into country music. And some of that stuff actually rubbed off on us too. It doesn't seem like, because he would hang around with us and come and watch us play. Our dad would come to our rehearsals while we were at the Grange Hall, and if you listen to 45, it's got country influences in it. You know what I mean?
Thoughts in my mind about to unfold.
some country hits in Europe, correct?
Yeah, which is it's a different type of thing over there, though. It's a different type of animal, you know. It's like,
Sure.
it's not like here, you know. They have sparse play over there, so you know it takes a lot of. Here it's so saturated, Mark, you know, with radio stations playing one style of music. Over there they were playing many styles of music on the same station. So that was like
it's all integrated.
It's all integrated.
I listened to a couple of your '90s country records, "Whatever It Takes" and "Through Life," and it kind of reminded me of like later period Roy Orbison as well. You're both crooners.
Whoa, take my heart. Forever we'll be never apart. So close we are. I can feel though we're miles apart. After all, since you love me, there's no way I could ever leave you. 'Cause throughout I'm falling in love with you.
I'm more comfortable with ballads, and I mean I like up-tempo tunes and everything, and I'll do them. But what I do like about ballads is that you can let the song breathe a little bit and phrase a little differently, and create space in your phrasing where you can't really do that in an up-tempo tune. It's all kind of in your face. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. You can be more lush with a ballad.
Right. Right.
Well, I kind of want to rewind in the conversation a little bit here. You were talking about how you were playing at Grange halls and local events, and Don Sr., you took them out to Spokane and found a recording studio, and they made a 45. Can you just tell me how you got from there to recording the album?
Well, it was kind of simple how we got from there, because after we recorded that 45, we started listening to it, and we said to ourselves, heck, we can do this ourselves. We're not perfect, but gee, we can do that. So we had the other Mr. T was involved with us. He was his music teacher, but we had him on. He'd always come and check on us, see how we was doing, and he was going to promote us some and whatnot. But anyway, he could see that maybe we could do that. So we got the big idea that we'd get the recording equipment and we'd do it ourselves instead of paying somebody else out there to do it.
Yeah.
So that's what we done. We had the studio built, and they was practicing there, and so Mr. T, he went and bought the equipment, and I paid for it, and that's the way it went. He just learned on his own. We was heavily over equipmentized.
We was.
But we used it.
We did use it, and it was an interesting time, because T would bring out of a piece of equipment, say once every 30 days. He'd bring something out just to see if it might work for us to possibly, because he ran a music store, okay, and
Right.
and so he'd bring something out and he'd say, hey, you might want to try this to go with that piece right there.
Yeah.
And we'd experiment with it and say, oh yeah, that really works, you know, like maybe like an Echoplex machine or a you know, or maybe an equalization thing, like a 32 band equalizer. And I said, well, what can I do with this, you know? And then I realized what I could do with it, and then I also knew. But here's the thing: mic placement wasn't really prevalent with him teaching me mic placement. All that stuff had to be learned as we went. Nobody
Sure.
taught us that stuff. Mic placement. If you listen to the record, you could see where we kind of evolved and then we regressed, because that's what happens. You say, okay, this kind of sounds good, but then you kind of forget how you did that, and then you move on to something else.
We got robbed, so we got some more equipment.
Yeah, we did get
Oh
robbed.
man,
Yeah.
really? Somebody
Yeah.
broke into your studio?
Yeah.
Yeah, someone broke in and stole about, I don't know, maybe $50,000 worth of equipment, couple guitars, a TV monitor,
Flute.
flute, just different items that they get hands on at the time of the break-in.
Yeah.
The instrumentation on your records are just really very thorough and so varied. You got a lot going on, and it's all very tasteful and also playful at the same time.
Well, thanks for saying that. I will tell you what, we knew what we were doing when we were doing it.
Making my drumming beat so true.
A lot of these inspirations don't come from you, Mark. They come from God. They don't come from you. You can work all you want, okay? And I've been doing this now for 45 years. I can tell young kids this: your gift does not come from your hard work. It comes from your connecting to that space, that place, and that's God's gift coming to you. A lot of times they don't know how to connect, and because you can work and work and work and work and work and never come up with lines.
I think it's like a plant that's growing as from a seed. You can't, it's not mechanical. It's got to take some nature. It's got to take something that's just true to itself.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's naturally going to happen.
Yeah, and that's funny because I go play with guys I'm playing with right now, Mark, and I don't even have the creativeness that I had with Joe and Eldon with them. It's so weird, Mark. It's almost like things are thought out too much. Oh, I got to think it like this. No. The bass player should, you know what I mean? Sometimes you just got to let yourself go. And it's hard to do that because we're in a day and age where we want to piece things together. We piece it together on these digital workstations. Oh, we got to piece this together, piece that together. Well, what happens is you're not really in tune with your bandmates. You're basically just relying on the piecing and cutting and pasting of a mathematical equation. Instead of just let it breathe. I don't care if you're out of tune at the beginning. If it flows and it's right, it's right. It's just the way I look at it anymore.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think I agree with you that it's something that it's more of an experience. It's more of something that happens to you than something you force to happen.
Exactly. And yeah, do you want to say something, Joe?
No, I think that's correct. What you guys are both saying there, and true in a sense. It's just it comes out of you. I mean, of course, we were young. I think that had a lot to do. We weren't cluttered. Our minds weren't cluttered with a lot of things around us that was happening. Sure, out in the outside world, from our own world.
Yeah.
But we had this vision and then enlightenment of like, I'm going to do this. I'm so excited. And of course, I had a part in that. Mine was the thrill of the event where we got together with Don and my friend Eldon. That moment was like, wow, we're going to play some music. It was like a new thing's happening here. Uh-huh. We're creating something. It's like a diamond in the rough. You all of a sudden it's coming out. Wow, this is cool.
I hear young kids come up to me and I see bands that are conformed. They're conformed. They get together and they peter out after about 4 or 5 months, 6 months, and they're gone. Okay? But the greats, they're never gone. When you listen to the song "Baby," Joe and I playing that song, okay, those are one takers. There's no overdubs. There's no overdubs of going back and singing the lead singing vocal. I mean, I just made the words up as I was going.
And then you'd layer stuff on.
Yeah, and then we did the backups. Well, see, we did the backups on that, and then I just sang over it, and that was a one take, because I couldn't punch in then. I didn't know how to punch in. So I just kind of dreamed off in La La Land and started singing. And then after I got it done, I wrote the words down on a piece of paper just so I couldn't forget them. You know, that's kind of how I did stuff at that time. But coming up with Dreamin' Wild,
Yeah, that's beautiful.
yeah, and I'm sure you've done that yourself with your bandmates. You just gotta start banging away, and all of a sudden you got something.
Joe, can you speak to what you've been doing musically over the last almost, I guess it's been over 40 years since the inception of the duo, but you've continued to play music in addition to the logging business, right?
Right, yeah. Well, I did miss it not playing with Don when he ventured off and went pretty much on his own at first, and then of course he married, and his wife worked together with him, and then he had band members later on. But I did miss Don, not being with Don and our earlier band members. But then I still wanted to do something with music, and eventually I started playing guitar a little bit. But I was different than Don in some ways. We're different, but we're both kind of like, you know, we got this kind of hunger to say, I want to show them this kind of a sound. I want to show them that kind of sound. And so lately I've just been by myself here. Still, you know, not as much as I'd like to, but you know, once a week I'll pick the guitar up and go upstairs and play my guitar and play some drums.
So what was your reaction to the realization when you found out that your album was sort of taking off in this sort of underground vintage pop scene 3 decades later?
Well, hold a second. I gotta rewind here. Rewind.
Sure.
I remember in my kitchen or my dining room, and my daughter's on the internet. At that time, I think she was about 10 or 8, and she says, "Daddy, look, these people are playing your music. That's Daddy," you know, on there. And I think at the time, I think there was I don't know how many thousand views on there. There must be maybe 2,000 views or something. I don't even know if it was that much, Mark, whatever. But to me, that was a big deal. Okay. And so I'm thinking to myself, what's this all about? You know, this is kind of interesting. Well, weeks went by, and we started getting more views. And all I remember is getting calls from some record collectors saying, "Are you Donnie Emerson that wrote Dreamin' Wild and your brother Joe?" And I says, "Yeah." I says, "What's the deal?" And I says, "Well, we just love this record, and we want to get some records, and where can we call, and where can we get them?" So I turned them on to my dad. So it was kind of a surreal thing. It was kind of like, oh my gosh, what's this? This is weird. This is like, you know, I'm at that time I was in my mid 40s, I think, 45. How was? I can't remember how old I was. 48 or something like that, or something. And it's kind of odd to have those feelings come back to you. It's strange.
What makes your record stick out to a lot of people who are unassuming is what's seen now as a totally outrageous cover. At first glance, it has been written that it appears that you might even be Siamese twins, even though you're 2 years apart, and there's an apparent, you don't look like identical twins.
Right.
But the matching jumpsuits, the white jumpsuits that you're wearing with your names on patches, it's like a band uniform,
Right.
And did you get those specifically for the album shoot, or was that something that came before the album?
That came before the album. We had those made. Go ahead. You want to explain it, Joe?
Yeah. We had those made in Spokane. A store called, at the time, it's called Style Builders in Spokane.
About Elvis.
What was that, Mom?
At the time, we was talking about Elvis. Everybody talk about him. And we kind of like his uniform. So the kids, the boys, with the guy used to come and see how is the music going. He decided altogether that's how it's going to be, the uniform. And so Joseph, he even had a medallion, what do you call it, Joe? Medallion. He still have it, I think. And it was pretty sharp, and everybody did like it
Well,
at the time.
The thing is, Mark, you have to realize, I think we were 10 years behind. In 78 and 79, think of 68 and 69. Because we're out here in the farm, and we're kind of away from everything.
Isolation.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what happens.
Yep.
But tell me about this medallion. This is something I didn't know about.
Tell him about that.
Well, if you look at the record, you'll see I'm wearing a medallion around my neck.
Oh yeah, okay, I've got it right here in front of me.
Yeah, Joe designed that.
The medallion, it's kind of the design of the I think it's NATO symbol or something in a way, but there's an E. If you notice you don't see it on their jumpsuits there maybe, but if on the reissue that Light and Attic did, with the second release of other melodies and stuff that Donnie and I put together, it shows, I think, the back of the jumpsuits, and it shows the E and the C kind of back to each other, and that's for Enterprise and Company.
And you still have your medallion?
Yes, we still have our medallions.
Yep.
Both of you?
Yeah.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
That was 30 years later. Now we're 40 years later, and there's a movie coming. And
right.
I just, if I were in your shoes, I would have a hard time wrapping my head around that.
Yeah, and the thing is, just 7 days ago, I listened to a remake of the Baby song from this young girl. Mark, I believe her name is Kirsty Fox. Okay, and she's done the remake of Baby. Okay, it's probably been one of my favorite versions of it. And I want to see things happen for her with this song, the way she's done it. She's singing it just wonderful. I just, for someone unknown to be singing this song, Ariel Pink has done it. I like Ariel's version as well, but to hear a girl sing it and to sing it the way she's singing it is so well done. Maybe you can play an insert of her music while she's doing it, because the girl needs props, and she's doing a fantastic job.
Yeah, oh yeah, that's definitely going on the show. And yeah, I love the Ariel Pink, Dame Funk cover of it as well. Those are both artists that I've been following for, about as long as I've been following y'all.
Right.
It all kind of, I feel like the vibe that you guys were putting out when you released Dreamin' Wild had a big resurgence with the whole, I'm sure you're familiar with the sort of yacht rock characterization.
Yeah.
Just kind of people all of a sudden realizing that there was this specific sound that of just like really syrupy molasses pop music.
Yeah, and I've seen it. Yeah, and since Dreamin' Wild has been out, I see a lot of people kind of following that vibe. You know, which is kind
That's true.
I've seen it. I've seen it a lot, and it's been great. Our music's been in a lot of films. We've been blessed because our stuff's been in a lot of films.
So I know from reading liner notes on your albums that there's a treasure trove of Donnie and Joe Emerson recordings. I want to know, how long was the unit a thing? The existence of the Donnie and Joe duo as a band.
I mean, it really began probably in '79 when we did the picture taking at the studio in Spokane, and then it was probably 3 years is all. I mean, that's kind of short, because shortly after that, we decided that Don, kind of in a group agreement, we decided together that Donnie should continue with his songwriting and singing, but maybe we should go another avenue. So we decided to put some monies in and go hire musicians, studio musicians, and do a solo album. Don did. Well, that started in 83 or 81. So we only had a period of maybe 3 years or so when the Dreamin' Wild was came together, that actually we could say that was Donnie and Joe.
My favorite track from Still Dreamin' Wild is Ride the Tide.
Okay.
I love it. When I first heard it, I think I listened to it about 15 times in a row.
Are you leaving me to ride the tide again? You knew instantly I'd be there, and I don't like the pain that starts to shower on me. I've never letting go of something I don't know. Why do you ride the tide that sends you away from me? Against my will tonight, I cry a lover's cry. Why do you ride the tide that sends you away from me? Against my will tonight, I cry a lover's cry. Oh.
That I wrote that when I was going down to Los Angeles.
You spent a few years down there, right?
Yeah, off and on I was staying with a photographer friend of mine who let me bunk out at his house, which wasn't a typical type of house or a condominium. It was a typical thing you would see out of a Hollywood movie or something. You know, the swimming pool, the copper roof, you know, the grand piano in the foyer, the whole vibe, you know what I'm saying? He was a high fashion model photographer.
Yeah.
Okay. So you can just picture that whole vibe.
And you were a high fashion model.
Well, I was around.
Did you bring your jumpsuit to LA?
No. I was this country bumpkin guy down there. He shot my cover on the record "Can I See You" record, and we became friends. And I started staying there with him, and I wrote this song about someone that I'd met down there, and it just kind of came. It happened pretty fast. I wrote it really fast, and yeah, I pieced all the parts together. The whole thing was all separated, kind of like Fleetwood Mac would do, like Mick Fleetwood would do, and you can kind of hear that vibe in there, you know.
Hey, I heard there's a vacancy in that band.
Yes, there is, and I think I'm the right guy for it.
I think so too.
I would be honored to be that guy, actually. But my thing is this: Lindsey Buckingham to me he is the cornerstone of that band. he is the guy that came up with those melodies of the guitar work, the sound of it, the vibe, you know.
But Donnie, he's not even an original member.
Well, I know it's all crazy, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, it is.
One more thing I wanted to know is, are your folks still there?
Yes.
Don,
Yeah, we're here.
Selena.
Yes. We're still here.
How do you feel about the likelihood that you will both be portrayed by actors in an upcoming film?
How do you feel about that, Dad?
How you feel about it?
Well, that's fine with me.
I don't know who's going to take my part to play me, because I went when I had the album. I knocked a lot of doors and I saw a lot of album at the time. And I'm not an educated person, you know. I don't know how to read and write. But I said I try it. So
You're
I
a
knock
smart
on
person,
doors.
Mom.
I knock on doors and ask the people about the album. And some of them, I said, "What you doing here?" I said, "Mark," I said, "I'm helping my son. He needs some help." So he don't understood me the first time. He says, "What's the matter with your son? He needs help? He's sick or something?" I says, "No." I said, "He's ready to go to California. He needs some help. We need to really keep going here, because we went through so much in this business, but we never stopped. Keep going. We had ups and downs and things like that. But you know something? I chased by ducks. Scare me to death, because those ducks, when they have the babies, you better don't go knock on doors. And nobody was helping me. So when that big mama duck to chase me, then and I was scared. So I wonder sometime, I think, who's going to play my part? Because that part of the story, I chased by dogs, I chased by dogs, and you know, it's not what's easy, because sometimes you go knock on doors, you don't know who's going to open the door.
Well,
Too many stories.
Who do you want,
yeah,
Dad?
my part would be a tough one, because you have to have one that, I don't know, is very stubborn and believes in what the project the kids are doing. And I know the people around the community must have thought I was crazy, you know, what I was doing. They had to have thought that. It's the only thing that had come in my head.
I'm going to interject just on Dad. I don't know how he's going to handle it, who's playing him, but he's going to have to be a very soft-spoken guy. Dad doesn't get excited too much. He doesn't get wild. You know, there's some guys get wild. You know, Dad.
Sure.
He doesn't get that way. He's very, very. He's very reserved.
From the photos I've seen in that era, say the late 70s, early 80s, I would say Eric Warhame and Rashida Jones probably pull off the part.
Well, I don't know anything about actors.
Well, who would you and Joe want to play yourselves?
Well, I don't know.
Fantasy
He's probably
talk.
too old. Chachi, I don't know, could play me.
That's right. No.
Scott Baio can play me. I don't know.
You remember Donnie when you were?
I don't know.
Jack Nicholson can play Donnie.
I think Jack Nicholson's going to play me.
At 16 years old?
Oh,
A
God.
400-year-old man playing a teenager.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't know.
Sounds
how it's gonna
good.
go.
Hey, I'd watch that movie.
Yeah.
I'll tell you that.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for everything you did.
Thank you,
Mr.
Mark.
and Mrs.
Thank you,
Emerson,
Mark, for interviewing us.
Thank you very much, Mark.
You're welcome, Mark. I just want to say one thing before we end this, because we're going to go to bed. I just want to tell all the fans out there that stuff like this doesn't happen all the time. I don't know if it's ever happened like this. And I want to tell the young kids out there that it is a gift. It is a gift, and it's a gift from God. And to really treat it with a lot of respect as much as they can, you know, because it doesn't come all the way from all your practicing and your hard work. It comes because it's given to you. That's all I wanted to say.
Yeah, so treat it with care.
Yep.
Don't throw it away. Don't exploit it.
Yeah.
And it's worth it too. When they
Yep.
make a good music,
Yep.
make it decently, just never go away.
Yeah.
Come
Yeah.
back over and over.
Yep.
That's how I feel about it.
Thank you, Mark, for having us here.
Thank you, Mark.
Thank you, Joe.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Selena.
And good
you,
night.
Don
And
Senior.
God bless you.
Yeah.
Say bye.
God bless
Joe.
you
Okay.
too.
Bye, Mark.
Bye.
Yeah.
What a treat to have the Emerson family on the show today. What you're hearing right now is a never-before-released track called Aussie Theme, an instrumental song from their treasure trove of unheard recordings. This particular song was written and recorded for their Uncle Danny, who came from Australia to visit the family on their farm back in 1983. You won't find this anywhere else. So until next installment, thanks for listening to Low Profile and enjoy the music.